right, welcome to Optional Dialogue, episode 83. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and I'm joined by Dory. So, as you can see, we've switched back to the original channel. We decided to combine all of the podcast shows together. So that's why we suddenly gone from like 22 to like 83. So from now on, we're going to be Optional Dialogue. When it works great for all of us, so we can do things like this with the two-person layout, which I really like. So today we're gonna talk about Baldur's Gate 3. This is our spoiler cast. So Dory and I put a lot of hours into this game. It's my game of the year. Is it your game of the year right now?
It's also my game of the year.
Yeah, because I like I said, I thought Tears of the Kingdom would be my lock for a long time, but this game was that good that it actually would be my game of the year now. It's that insanely good. I think it has like a 97 on Metacritic or like a 96 now.
It's the highest. It's one of the highest rated games of all time on Metacritic, even outshining Breath of the Wild. And Tears of the Kingdom.
Definitely, and now it's coming to Xbox apparently, and so now it's very accessible for everybody. So. Definitely play it. I might play it again.
It'll have cross saves. It'll have cross saves too. So it's great.
I've thought about playing it again on PlayStation.
Same.
It just feels too close, too soon. Especially with Starfield coming around, but
it might be good also to like wait for a couple of patches too, because they're gonna add mod support and they're gonna add like other modes. We'll talk about it, but yeah, they're gonna be adding a lot, so it wouldn't hurt to be waiting for a sale and waiting for some patch 1 actually just dropped today as we're recording, so that's huge.
Definitely. So let's start with like our character builds, like what kind of characters we built. So I did a drow, which is a dark elf, which is like my favorite, always my favorite fantasy like race and everything. They're like they're not well liked because they're notoriously evil. But mine was the good one, because there's two like versions of them you can pick, and mine wasn't the one that worships the evil god and stuff. Mine was like the ones that helps people. Ironically though, not ironically, but I thought the evil ones look cooler. Like they had a cooler face to them. So I considered it, you know.
That's why evil always wins, because it's cool as hell.
Yeah, and I picked a fighter. So what race and class did you pick?
Yeah, so for race, I was very boring. I picked human. Great all-rounder, good for a first run.
Yeah.
And then I picked my favorite class, which is rogue, which ended up going, as we'll talk about, very, very well for me. A very, very good choice. There is a rogue you can get throughout the adventure, but we'll talk about him. But yeah, that's what I picked.
And what did you start like specializing in? Because I did Eldritch, the knight.
Yeah, I picked. I think I picked thief. It was really cool to. I played kind of like the thief with a gold heart kind of thing, like a Han Solo archetype. Very much chaotic good. Would kind of renege on people if they were evil, or double cross them if they were evil. But if they were all good, even if they were lawful good, generally speaking, I would treat them well. It was only really for the villains of the story, or for certain people who just treated me poorly, like the Zentarum, especially, or groups like that, who kind of like were the polar opposite of me, because I was like chaotic good, they were like chaotic evil. So yeah, that was kind of my alignment, kind of my role playing.
Yeah, mine was very. I for some reason my first playthroughs were always just very good. I always liked to be like the paladin, basically the hero.
I can't do evil runs. I've always sucked at being evil in video games. I can't punch the reporter in Mass Effect, and I can't be the Dark Urge in Baldur's Gate. It's just so hard to be mean to people in video game. I saw prompts and stuff to like break up with like my romantic partner throughout the game, and I'm like, I would never even as a joke quick save and then do that. Like that would just break my heart. I've actually seen the text for the specific romantic partner, what it is. It just breaks my heart. I'm like, I could never do that. Like that would be so incredibly mean.
One of the coolest things about this game is like there's so many choices that like can really just change things, and like there's so many evil things you can do, like, and things you totally miss. But everybody has a totally different playthrough.
Absolutely. There were times where Seb and I were literally at similar playtime hours, and he'd be talking about what he just did. I'd be like, the fuck are you talking about, man? I have no idea. Like, are you playing a different game and you're not telling me?
Right. Yeah. You like. I love that you can do things in different orders. That's a great. That's what I love about Tears of the Kingdom as well, and other games, and Elden Ring, and like because I love when you have a choice, right? Like, it's good to have linear games, but sometimes it's really nice just to have like a game that lets you do what you want.
Absolutely.
So let's start with Act 1. So how we're gonna organize this is we're gonna go by each act. So this is spoilers. So if you haven't played the game yet, haven't beat the game yet, watch this after, because we're gonna get very deep into it, deep into the spoilers. It's been a while, but but it's not been. It hasn't been that long, so I shouldn't have an issue remembering.
Same.
So the very first thing we want to start off with is the beginning, in that like our characters have a parasite in their heads, right? They're trying to be
behind their eye.
Yeah, they're corrupted by the Mind Flayer. We start off on the Mind Flayer ship. That's the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, not a Lloyd.
Yeah, you know more of the like specific lore names than I do. Dungeons and Dragons.
I should say I'm a dungeon master, and I've been DMing for 3 years, been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 3+ years. This game uses 5e, which is the current, probably most accessible and successful D&D system of all time. I mean, it's featured in Critical Role, Stranger Things. I was watching wrestling, and young Sheldon came on, and they were playing D&D. So it's more popular than ever, specifically because of 5e. So yeah, the system uses 5e, so I'm going to probably use buzzwords here and there or throw out words that I know. But yeah, it starts you off on the Nautiloid. Boy, you are not in a good place at the beginning of that game, because a little tiny Mind Flayer, little cephalopod thingy goes right behind your eye. It's nasty. It's not like gory or anything, but I mean, all the sound effects you would expect are there.
Yeah.
And it's really nasty, and you're basically trapped with a few other people.
Right, and I'm assuming we both rescued Shadowheart. Right?
I did. It took me like 5 minutes, and eventually I gave up. I was like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to save her, so I literally like looked up like, how do you save Shadowheart? And it was great too. I'm so glad I did. She was so helpful throughout the adventure. I mean, she's a cleric, so super helpful.
Yeah, we're getting ahead, but she was my romantic partner in this game. So
nice.
Yeah,
dang, I didn't get any romance. People were talking so much about how horny this game is. Yeah. I picked like the most like and this is my own experience, of course, but I picked like the most like not humdrum, but like the most like romantic. I never had a sex scene. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But
I never had that either.
Sex scene. Yeah, I never had a sex scene, and I never had like any like I had various characters like, come on to me, but like I either rebuffed them or I was like, hey, like Will, can we have a polyamorous thing going on here with Halson? And it didn't work out. Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But yeah, Shadowheart, she's more tame, so she's not like outwardly sexual. So like if you're in a relationship with her, it's more like you're just like you guys just kiss and then flirt. She's not like wild, like maybe like Asterion or something.
Right, Asterion or Lae'zel, who you can have I don't know if you've seen, but there's a sex percent speed run, and you can have sex with Lae'zel in like 3 minutes.
I saw that. I watched that today, actually.
Incredible stuff. I love speed running so much. So you're stuck in the Nautiloid. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Will was like flirting with me too. Like, I could have had a gay relationship with him, but it just felt like kind of out of nowhere. There wasn't enough. There was just enough there. Like I felt.
That's fair. Yeah. I had such a good relationship with Will because when he shows up in Act 1, he's just kicking all of the ass of the goblins. Like he'll do like Hunger of Hadar, and he'll do some Eldritch Blast, and he'll just be taking out like goblins like fools left and right. And I was like, damn, like who the hell's this guy? So like he immediately like made an impact on me. Yeah. He's such a great character. We'll talk more about him as we go along. But yeah, you're stuck in the Nautiloid, and you can save Shadowheart or leave her there.
Right, and so you might accidentally leave her there without realizing. As soon as you leave the door, I guess. I don't know if you can go back, but
you can also get an Intellect Devour. Did you know that as a pet? I never did that, but you can get an Intellect Devour as a pet. They die in the ship crash, so
I didn't know that.
You don't. Yeah, so you don't keep them for long, but but they think you're an ally because you have the cephalopod or spawn or whatever the hell behind in your brain. So they treat you like an ally. They do that throughout the game. Actually, it's a nice continuity, except like towards the end of the game. But yeah, so the ship is eventually attacked by dragons. It starts crashing. You have to get to the helm. They gave you so much time to do this. Like, this was very generous. I think they gave you 14 turns to get there. I got there with like 10 turns to spare because I was rushing. But pro tip, if you've somehow gotten this far in the game or don't know, you can take that guy's sword, the general who is fighting the Mind Flayer. If you help out the Mind Flayer and kill him, you can take his sword, and he's got like one of the most powerful swords in early game. Like, give it to Lae'zel or something.
But the devil guy that was fighting
the devil guy, the infernal general or whatever the fuck he's called.
Yeah.
So he has a hugely powerful weapon. I didn't know that, of course. So I just ran right by him. I was like, this guy's like level 10. I'm not fucking with him.
I ran by him too.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not risking that. That dude would wipe me out in one hit. I'm not messing with him.
Well, in the beta, he like one-shotted me. So I thought like I wasn't supposed to fight him.
You know what I mean? Right. And I mean, you're probably not, but I mean, there's really you're not supposed to in this game anyway. Yeah.
But I didn't feel underpowered until like later, so I was fine in the beginning of the game. I didn't feel like I had to have a overpowered weapon. So it crashes. The ship crashes, and you land on the beach, and then you stumble onto Gale, his arm sticking out of the portal.
So funny thing about Gale, I didn't know Gale was there until like I don't even know. I think I was almost done with Act 2 or maybe Act 1. I was pretty far into the game at this point. I was like maybe 50 hours or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I never saw the portal, or I saw the portal and I didn't see his hand sticking out. Either way, I didn't get Gale until much later in the game, which did make some of the pacing for his quest feel a little weird.
Yeah.
But it was still fine. He was a great character. Love Gale. But yes, you're supposed to find Gale, his hand sticking out, and you can give him a high five, or you can pull him out. And if you, I think if you get like a nat 1 or something, like you like pull his arm off, or his arm gets separated.
You can cut it off if you want to.
Yeah, you can cut off his arm. You can do a lot of funny shit. It's great.
I pulled him out because I had a strength build, so I picked the strength option.
Yes.
So I pulled him right out. So
again, getting ahead of myself. I think I let Karlach or Lae'zel pull him out because I'm a rogue, obviously. So whenever it came to strength, I did not. Unless there was like a dexterity check, then I might have done it.
Yeah. Him too as well. He was always flirting with me the whole game. Like, he always wanted a gay relationship with me as well. All the guys wanted a gay relationship with me. I don't know what it was about my guy.
Yeah.
My guy did have a feminine, like very like masculine but like feminine build at the same time. He's an elf, right? Sure. So very appealing.
Androgynous.
Very appealing man.
I had Gale. He was a little flirty with me, but honestly, it really nicely straddled that line between tender friendship and relationship. Like we did have like a night where we hung out, just him and I.
Same.
And like we watched like I
think you have to actually.
Yeah, maybe you have to. But either way, it's a very nice scene, and like for me and him, it's like the way I chose it, the way it played out. It was just like a really nice scene between two friends, and maybe there are some undertones, maybe not, but yeah.
I agree, but I could be wrong, but I believe if you don't go with him, something bad happens. I think you actually die. Like, I think the whole party dies or something. Like, he explodes or something like that.
Oh, right, because he's going to go off to go. Yeah, okay, because he was thinking of,
that's what I meant,
Yeah, so I gotcha.
Right, so I rescued him, and you basically stumble into, like, maybe I'm skipping ahead, but you stumble onto, like, the goblins are, like, attacking, like, the
Emerald Grove,
Emerald Grove, yeah. And they're, like, basically it's like two factions inside there. There's the devil guy. What are they called? Tieflings. Tieflings, and then there's the druids, right? And the druids want them out of there.
And this is more D&D lore that you don't really need to know, but it helps. Emerald Grove is like one of the bigger sort of water deep factions. You know, they are mostly druids and rangers and stuff like that. People tied. I actually had I ran a campaign in Waterdeep that had one of my party members be a part of the Emerald Grove. So this was super cool to see because I didn't get to role play them too much, only a little bit here and there. But yeah, they're a really cool faction. I mean, they're unfortunately led by a total asshole to start with. But you do eventually meet a much nicer man.
Before we get into that, so we stumble right at the entrance, right? And then like there's goblins attacking, and I rescued most of them. I think one of them died, and then the one guy with curly hair was like really annoying, and I actually punched him in the face. I smacked him.
I don't blame you.
I smacked him.
I was really tempted to punch him. I think my first struggle in the game, and I got to mention this now because if I don't, I'll forget it, was that locked door that was near the beach, and I was so like, I think it goes to the temple or something.
Where the ancient temple.
Yeah, where you meet Withers. Although I never actually did that because I could never get in, so I forgot all about it later on. So I met Withers in my camp. He just randomly showed up one night.
Same with me. I went over there. I did like all the puzzles and stuff, and I was like, wasn't it supposed to be a cutscene or whatever? And it turned out he was already with me the whole time. Like I didn't realize that that's how you're supposed to get him. He just randomly showed up with me.
Yeah. So the game's really nice that way because Withers is a great. He can help you get hirelings, and of course he can revive your party members for a ridiculously low cost of 200. So you never feel like I never had to use that until like towards the end of the game where my characters were going down a lot.
And you can respect.
You
change your whole class. You change your whole class.
Yep.
I changed to rogue for a little bit, but we'll talk about that. But I went back to fighter.
Yeah, totally fair. But yeah, this goblin fight where they're attacking the Emerald Grove, when you first see them, by now you've probably gotten Lae'zel out of the cage. And she's doing just fine. And then this was like the first really cool battle for me. This is like a big part. There's even a bigger part a little later on in Act 1. But for me, this is like one of the first parts where like you start to see the scope of this game and like how good the gameplay is and how much like things like, I don't know, like really work out in terms of the mechanics and stuff like that. I'm already really familiar with 5e, so it was just a matter of getting ready, getting used to the UI, and making sure I understood. Like it's so handy too because all of them have symbols and icons. You don't get that in D&D when you're playing on the table unless you bring like spell cards or something like that, which Wizards of the Coast does sell.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, the UI can be a little overly complicated at times, but you get a hotbar, you can customize it how you want. I never really needed to do that. I just got used to the way it was laid out. But the UI is intimidating at first, but I think you can get used to it. I have very little CRPG experience besides, of course, Disco Elysium, one of my favorite games of all time. And Disco Elysium is obviously a very different game to Baldur's Gate, even if they're in the same genre. Just wanted to say a little bit about the UI. But yeah, this attack on Emerald Grove was really my first large-scale kind of like introduction, because before then you're running, or it's a short battle, or it's like a smaller battle. This was really good.
Yeah, it was really good, and so that was my introduction to like the game, mostly when like in terms of like interacting with everybody. Everybody's fully voiced. So I interacted with every single tiefling in the camp, even the kids. There's a lot of like little moments. What I love about this game is like the little moments where like you teach one guy how to fight using a sword, because I was a fighter build. So I rolled dice and I was teaching him like, oh, you should do this. This should be your stance. Another one was like my perception was pretty good, that like this little kid had there's a secret door behind him, like in the mountain. There was another one where the goblin was in a cage and they were gonna kill that goblin, and I stepped in front of it and stopped it from happening. But I never finished that mission. I didn't rescue the goblin because I think I saw that it, unfortunately, I spoiled it for myself that it didn't lead to anything, so I decided not to. And then that's where we meet Will. He's training the tieflings. Yep. Which is really cool. So we talked about him. He's like a swashbuckler.
Tieflings are really cool.
Han Solo type.
Tieflings are in a weird part in the lore at this time in D&D because they only talk about it a few times, but there's been a huge event in Elturel where basically Elturel has been sunk into the hells, and a lot of the people in Baldur's Gate are worried. I think this is after it's definitely after it's already happened. I think it's after Descent into Avernus, or it might be during it. But anyway, the point is, a lot of people have cause to blame tieflings for it, and people already racist towards tieflings because their skin, their color, the horns. I mean, they look like devils, right? And devils are generally not known for being good. So even especially in D&D. One thing I love and I will praise, forever, is that this game absolutely treats tieflings so freaking well. Not like they're all good you have some of the kids especially are like little street urchins, right? Types where little Aladdin types where they'll steal from the people. I'm a rogue, so of course I was the role model, and I said no, these children would never steal. Pockets. They would never steal, so I love those little bastards so much. It's great, and there's just a lot of tension that plays well within this first act of the tieflings and the druids, and the sort of kind of a refugee crisis in a way of like, do you keep the tieflings there? Do you have them go out onto the road? I eventually had them go out onto the road, but I protected them as best I could. Some of them still died, unfortunately. Instead of, I figured that would be better than staying in a hostile environment where they're constantly persecuted against and like a conflict could happen at any time. Really, you could argue either way, because eventually the hostile leadership does get overthrown if you play things right. So you can argue either way.
I think I kept them there because I took out the leadership later on. But
right.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. They may have treated the tieflings better in this game, but not the drows, because when I was over there, they hated me. Not the tieflings. Tieflings didn't mind me, but the druids were like, yes, I don't want no stinking drows in my near my tree. And so I walked in there, but I got permission to go in, and you meet the two druids like in charge. One of them, they were about to kill the girl with the snake, and I stopped that from I stopped that from happening using my charisma.
Same.
And I met the parents, like her parents, and they rewarded me with like a ring or something. So you meet that one lady, like the druid lady, who's like couldn't stand her, wanted her dead as soon as I met her.
God, I hated her.
Yeah, I hated her. I took her out later on, but we'll talk about that.
Oh wow, very nice.
She was just standing on the cliff. She was just standing there, like no guards around her. I was like, is this supposed to?
Oh, that's right.
So I didn't even think about that. I took advantage of it. I was like, I'm taking this bitch out.
That's a hitman death right there. Yeah, that's a push someone off the pier with no guards around.
Yes. So I took her out, and then, but before we do that, so they're getting attacked by goblins. Like there's an army led by another drow.
Yes. Well, led by a drow, a hobgoblin, and a goblin. I think a priestess or something.
Yeah. So basically, because this is like the main story of Act 1. You go to the goblin camp. And you can tackle in different ways. Like I had the advantage because I was a drow. Like they responded to me naturally. Like I didn't have to convince them. They just didn't care that I was there. Because they, in fact, there was a couple of them I responded with. I could just like tell them what to do, and they would listen to me because I'm a drow.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to roll anything, and either they just listened.
It was a shit show for me as a rogue human. So I first came in. They treated me decently because there's this cult called the Cult of the Absolute. And so they were treating me decently. But eventually I got tired of having to prove myself. And there's this really funny scene, and you've probably seen it, but this guy finds like some shit or something that's on the ground. And he's like, if you want to prove you're part of us, like eat it. And I pick it up. And I make it look like I'm about to eat it, and then I throw it right in his face. It is so fucking satisfying. I would do it 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times. It was great. And then I fought my way into the goblin camp. But actually, I had come from the other way around. So I had already cleared out. Well, not cleared out, but I had already been to that part of the goblin camp where you can fight your way into. But I had been in by different means, and I'd found Volo, who was kept captured and stuff like that. It's really funny. So this was my first big mistake of Baldur's Gate. I tried to trick the drow into thinking I was on her side and lead them into an assault that I warned them was coming. And so I started to fight back against them. I got wiped out. Like it did not go well. So I was like, all right, it's probably going to be easier to just take her on in her own room with the guards. And so what ended up happening is I fucking swarmed her, killed her. And then at one point I did like a storm of daggers or whatever, that spell that Will has. Yeah. Really useful AoE. Used it throughout the game.
That was my go-to move the entire game.
Yeah,
I had 4 like 3 of my characters had it by the end of the game.
Nice.
So I used it all the time.
Really, really good.
Yeah, I spammed it.
But so I used it, and I was using it on a couple goblins, and at this point I didn't know about the destructible environments. I didn't even think about it. Yeah. And they were both on the bridge. I used it on the bridge, and the bridge I think I even told this in the podcast, but it just collapsed, and they both dropped into the abyss and fucking died. And that stopped any other reinforcements from coming over too. Now, once the battle was done, I panicked. I'm like, oh my god, I'm stuck here. This is so dumb. Why did I do this? And then I'm like, wait, what am I talking about? I can fast travel. So I was like, oh no, I've trapped myself. I've soft locked myself. And I was like, no, I can just fast travel.
The fast travel was like right in front of the door too.
Yes. So it was great. And then I freed Volo. I killed some of the prison guards, and I snuck up on the priestess, killed her, and then I tried to fight the hobgoblin the correct right way or whatever. But I just basically secluded all 3 of the leaders in their own little section of the temple, knocked them out one by one by one. Yeah. And the hobgoblin guy ended up basically being a joke because, I mean, he was just swarmed by me and my party who had already taken a long rest or whatever. Yeah. And had all my stuff. So, yeah, it was great. How did it go for you?
Well, getting there was an easy stroll because, like I said, everybody was scared of me. Once I got to the party, I noticed that you can poison them. So what I did is I got Will to turn one of my characters invisible, and I put the poison in the like the wine or the beer or whatever, and they all drank it, and it took out like maybe 70% of them.
Oh my god!
So that
incredible.
So that did that, yeah. And then I walked in. I was still cool with everybody. They didn't, because they didn't know it was me.
Right.
But actually, I did that after I walked in. But it was still like they still didn't care that I was there because they didn't know it was me. So when I walked in, I noticed. Well, I know the druid guy was upstairs, so I went to him to rescue him. Right.
I never found Halson. Halson ends up in my playthrough. He ended up escaping on his own.
Yeah.
I was I was looking for him everywhere. I just couldn't find him.
But I think I did that after as well. Actually, the first thing I did was after poisoning them was I walked in and actually no, I'm mixing it up. I poisoned them later on. So I walked in, didn't know where I was going, and I stumbled in the first captain, which is the goblin, where she wanted to like do some spell on me, and she took me to the back room. So she escorted me to the back room. And that's when I jumped her with the party. Nice. She wanted only me to be alone with her, but I was like, screw that. And I took her out. Fortunately, the aggro didn't notice that I took her out, so that was how I took that one out. She was like right in the middle, in the front. Then I went to the hobgoblin guy. Didn't want to mess with him. There's too many enemies in the room. So I went to the drow first, the drow lady. She wanted me to tell her where the grove was and all that. So I told her where it was. I tried rolling to trick her, but I didn't roll high enough. So she thought. So what I decided to do while she was walking away is I shot the bridge while she was walking, and I took her out just by shooting the bridge. So I didn't have to fight her. So that didn't even aggro anybody. They didn't even realize. I think it aggroed like maybe 2 of them near her. So I only left the hobgoblin guy, and then the hobgoblin guy was sitting on a chair. And this is like after I convinced him that I was the chosen one. I kind of like I passed all the persuasion checks. But he was sitting on his chair, and then I because I have a strength build, I pushed him off the chair into the abyss, and I took him out that way. However, that aggroed like the rest of the place.
Right.
But by that point, like I had a nice advantage point, and the enemies were only like small goblins, so it wasn't like anything severe. There was like 2 human guys, but they had low health.
I was about to say he had a couple of human guys. It was weird.
Yeah, and they had a low health.
Yours sounds like a fucking walk in the park compared to me. I had to I had to reload a save. I had to recalculate everything. It was a mess, but like I got through it eventually.
Well, to be fair, I am like giving you the condensed version.
Condensed version, sure.
Because I did have to like try different things. There's also like these human mercenary people in the corner. They're protecting a treasure. I fought them.
Oh, cool! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and so I took the hobgoblin guy out and killed pretty much the whole entire goblin temple. And then that's where I rescued the druid guy. He was very helpful because he turns into a bear and he does a lot of damage. And then also, if you kill the hobgoblin, if you go on the top, you can if you lockpick his loot, he has a really awesome mace. That was really helpful.
He has an awesome mace, and he has like 500 or 1,000 gold coins or something.
Yeah,
he's got like a huge treasury. It's awesome. I was living my best rogue life in that moment.
Yeah, I looted. I pretty much lockpicked every single door.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so I rested. So that was pretty much the rest of the goblin. Like I got everything was taken care of. And we went back, and everything was pretty much saved. Like the tieflings and the druids. I wouldn't say like they got super along, but it was like enough where there was neutral peace.
Yeah.
And then I saw the druid lady sitting there, and I was like, you know what, I'm taking her out. She was standing on the cliff. She like threatened me or something. I was like, you know what, no one's around you. No one's gonna know. Let's take her out. And so that's what I did. And what else? That's like a lot. That's pretty much a lot of Act 1. Like that's
most of Act 1. I mean, you meet Shadowheart, you meet Lae'zel, you meet Will, you meet Gale, Astarion. We didn't really talk about Astarion, so I do want to talk about Astarion for a second. I don't have much to say about him for reasons that'll become obvious in a second. So I know Astarion is everybody's favorite online. I did not have him in my party for very long because he turned out to be a vampire, and he tried to non-consensually bite me in the middle of the night. And
I let him.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that point, it's fine. But, like, I wasn't cool with that. And I was like, I don't know if you're going to kill me in my sleep. And also, this was deeply messed up. So I'm going to just, like, have you leave.
Yeah.
And he ends up, like, dying outside Baldur's Gate or something if you do that. But it was... I know he's, like, everyone's favorite. But honestly, because I was playing a rogue, I didn't really need him anyway. And I kind of found him annoying and pissy. Which is, that's what he's going for. So it's fine. Him and Lae'zel were my least favorite characters, and that's not to say they're bad characters.
No, I like Astarion, but Lae'zel I didn't like at all. I didn't.
That's fair.
She's she's redundant with me, first of all, because we're both fighters, but also I just like her attitude generally, just like always like grumpy.
Yeah, for sure, and I mean that's to be expected from her. Honestly, a lot of Gith are very warlike and very grumpy. But I think she has a very nice character arc over the course of the game. But you gotta, I didn't have her in my party for most of the time because I just had Karlach instead, who A is a joy to be around, B is the best companion in the game, I think. C, her voice actress should win a fucking BAFTA. I mean, and she fills the part of being the tank and the DPS machine perfectly, so you don't even need Lae'zel. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? With Astarion, so I booted him from my party. I never saw him again. I did do his mission towards the end of the game, which involved like a vampire lord, but that's way down the line. So
Karlach was in my party the entire game once I unlocked her.
Yep,
she was my favorite.
She was almost always in mine. Yeah, I loved her so much. There's a big choice you can make with her towards the end of the game that saves her life. I will hopefully remember to talk about that. Yeah,
and like she got like 3 or 4 turns, like when she got berserk mode, and it was really helpful. She helped me in a lot of battles. And she's a really cool character, very likable. Astarion, he's like the most iconic character in the whole game, just because his voice is just like memorable, and the acting. Everybody loves that kind of character in every show or movie or game. Wisecracking, like sexual, sleazy guy. But I used him mostly in Act 1. I felt like he got redundant for me. Act 2, I just didn't care for him as much. I like the other party.
Yeah.
But he's pretty cool. He was more of a factor for me in Act 3. He was cooler in Act 3. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's where a lot of his character stuff plays out. So
yeah. So, and what else? So Act 1 was that the Hag as well?
Yeah, that was the Hag. That was the Blighted Village where you met. So you met the dwarf on the windmill who got kidnapped. I believe that's Barkus actually. And you meet up with him, and I accidentally released the lever and such a fucking fly, so I had to reload. because I didn't realize what the mechanics were going to do. I was like, oh, okay, like this will make it go faster. Maybe.
Oh, you shouldn't have reloaded. You should have just let it.
I know. I probably should have. It was fucking funny.
Just for shits and giggles.
It was like Goofy whenever he flies off. I was like,
yeah.
It was fucking great. And then the Blighted Village. So there's a couple areas I didn't explore. I didn't meet the ogres because I was scared to death of them. I was like a level 3 party or something, maybe even level 2. I was like, there's ogres in there. I know it. I'm like, I'm not going in there. And it ends up that they'll actually be your allies if you can sweet talk them, which I probably could have as a rogue.
Yeah.
I never met the hag.
I didn't meet them either.
I never met the hag.
Oh, you didn't?
I never met the hag. No.
Oh,
I had no idea.
I stumbled in the village and like something was off. My perception went off, and like my spidey sense, and and I noticed like these like they're I don't know what they are, but like the small guy, they're like gnomes. They're not gnomes, but they're like they have like
the
beards.
Dwergar, or?
They all have like beards, like, and they're like tiny, the creepy looking
dwarves.
They're not dwarves, but they're like these creepy looking like they're basically like garden gnomes, but they're not. I don't know what they're called. Either way,
okay.
That's the village, right? Like they're all in disguise, and then when you stumble into that village, there's 2 guys looking for their sister, and there's an old lady that shows up, and she says she wants you to like help her, but it's actually the hag in disguise. So I knew something was up. She just felt, because the way she was talking was like just not trustworthy, and it was the hag, of course. And she took their sister, like she captured the sister. The sister's not really she's kind of annoying anyway, but so she wants to make a deal. She wants to take your eye, I think, if I remember correctly. You make it, and if you let her, I was like, I'm not giving her eye to her, so I didn't do that, and
right.
I thought about fighting her, but like you get attacked by the entire village, and I just didn't have the level to do that, so that was hard. So you can go rescue her, the girl in the cage, but there's like a time limit. Like if you don't rescue her, she dies, and she died on my playthrough. But I know that if you rescue her, you can like bring her husband back to life as a zombie, and she's like stuck married to a zombie, and she kind of just goes with it. She's not happy about it, but yeah,
not happy with it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny, but I didn't do all that. I did kill the hag and everything, but she was slimy. I don't trust anything she said, so I just took her out.
Yeah. Sure.
So
when it comes to the Blighted Village, I did the windmill side quest. I found the cellar. I found the Book of the Dead. I didn't end up doing anything with it. I was too undecided about whether to open it or to close it. So I kind of just left it in my inventory, and I was like, if I come across the stone in my playthrough, I come across the stone.
If you've seen Evil Dead, then you should know you should not open that book.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I know. And I've seen all 3 Evil Dead movies. I know I was fucking up my life.
Yeah.
I mean, even the goddamn description says it's not too late, or whatever. So yeah, and then I also did I know this will play back again later, but the Susser Blade or whatever it's called. Where basically like you can have a blade that potentially silences your enemies, which means they can't cast spells.
Yeah.
I didn't really do too much with that. I infused it with a dagger, and I almost never. I didn't even really use it. I had just had better daggers at the time that did more damage and had better effects. So it was kind of a letdown for me, but not a big deal.
I think we hit on all the main points of Act 1 at this point, so I think we're ready to move on to Act 2.
Agree.
All right, so Act 2.
Which way did you take to get to the Shadowlands?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think I stumbled in like the dark. I forgot the name of it. It was like Darklands, or like it was like mushrooms everywhere. The Underdark. That's where the drows are from, I think.
Yes, that's where the Dwergar and the drows are from.
Right, and then so I fought like 2 minotaurs down there.
That's right.
It was tough.
It was so I had a funny experience with that minotaur. I know exactly the one you're talking about. So the gate is closed, right? And he kept hammering and hammering and hammering. I was like, you have fun, buddy. And I climbed up a ladder and I just started firing at him, and he never hit me once. And I just took him out. And I remember Shadowheart got a good shot on him with Guiding Bolt or something. And it just took me a couple of Eldritch Blasts, a couple of arrows, and and he was done. It was great. I didn't have to fight him at all. I think by then, actually, he had gotten past the portcullis or whatever, the gate, and he had smashed through it. But it was too late. I had to quote the famous movie, I had the high ground. So there was nothing really he could do. And it was very funny because I just absolutely destroyed him. But the second Minotaur, I think I did have a harder time with.
And there's also an enemy in the ground that kept pushing characters off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that one was tough too, but it was a quick battle because it's 4-on-1, but it was a scary battle at the same time.
Yeah, basically, we fought those enemies, right, and then I stumbled on the tree people. I don't know what their names were. Like, I don't know what they called, but they wanted me to take out the dwarves there.
Oh, the Myconids or the Myconids.
Yeah, and I sided with them, so I did what they asked. At first, when I met the dwarf guys, like, I think they were dwarves.
They're Duergar.
Duergar, yeah, like basically darker dwarves, right? Is that basically what they are?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And they were hostile to me, but not enough where they attacked me. One guy wanted me to do something, but I said screw that and decided to sail anyway. And then I got got met by like pirates, and they were like, "You need to turn around." I'm like, "Nah." I used intimidation, and it's super effective.
Nice.
And I got to be able to sail across. So I feel like I was skipping I was skipping a lot of things that going that way because I was way under leveled. But I
definitely did.
But later on, I decided to go back and I took them all out. I just killed them all. Like just for experience and for the fact that they're all horrible people. I think they were like slave owners and stuff too, I believe.
They were slavers. Yeah, slavery is a big part. Unfortunately, a big part of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, thematically. But yeah, I did basically all the side quests before I helped the Myconids. I was actually really scared the first time I saw the Myconids. I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to fight all these fucking mushroom people. I actually already knew who the Myconids were because I've watched Team 4-Star. They had one of their campaigns. One of the people there, Grant, was playing a Myconid. So I was familiar with what these guys were, and they used Sporapore and all that kind of stuff. But they were friendly, and they just wanted me to kill some really bad people who were slavers, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then one of the Duergar did want me to help her. I believe maybe that's the person you're talking about, and she wanted me to help her with the prisoners that they had taken. Or no, it wasn't.
No, they wanted me to find someone. They wanted me to take out. They wanted me to like find somebody and take them out or something. If I remember correctly, it was to find somebody.
Right. Well, I ended up freeing some prisoners, but that's further down in Act 1. Actually, that I believe
we're still in Act 1, I believe, right?
Yeah, we are still in Act 1. Yeah, right before the Shadowlands. This is the fortress where you can find the forge, and you can also find there's a lot of cool like platforming, moving puzzles and stuff like that. There's this huge boss fight, which I'm not sure if you did, but it was very, very challenging. But you basically have to get this big, gigantic metal creature in the middle of the forge's anvil, hammer him while the lava is up, and only then will you be able to do damage. It was very tough.
Oh,
and I actually had it.
I know of it. I didn't do that one, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was able to use that adamantine armor and shield with my companions to like the end game until I got like marginally better equipment, but it was really good equipment mid game. And helped me out a lot. But yeah, I mean, the fortress is huge. This is another part where I really messed up. I had to reload a save because at first I wanted to kind of take him on. I knew this was going to be a tough fight because I'd already heard about it, seen reviews and stuff like that, and so I knew it was going to be a tough fight. So I tried to metagame it. I knew that it was going to be tough, so I tried to like start from the high ground. I just got swarmed. It was no good. And then I tried to like trick them and like do that, and it didn't work. I tried to use like bombs and stuff. That didn't work. So eventually I had to reload a save. I lost like an hour or two of progress, which sucked. And I had to go back. I talked to one of the Duergar and got them, joined their little rebellion to turn on the guy in charge. I forget his name. But the leader of the Absolute in that area. And basically, with his help, it made everything a lot easier. It was eminently doable. But without his help, I mean, this is a really tough ass fight.
Yeah. So let's start moving on to Act 2 now.
Yeah, for sure.
So Act 2, you reach the Shadowlands, right? And you stumble on like a town. Like, well, first of all, there's a curse, right?
Yes.
It doesn't affect Shadowheart. Plus, if she casts like a light, you can cast like a light ability, you get protected by the curse. So that made it a lot easier to cross. But it wasn't really doing that much damage to me. Anyway, so eventually you stumble into the town. It's protected by a cleric. I forget her name. You don't remember her name? Like,
what's her name? I know what you're talking about, and she's cool. She looks like she's got smoke marks all over her.
Yeah. I'm forgetting her name.
But yeah, I'm forgetting her name too.
So I stumbled there and I meet this druid lady. It's been a while, so I'm forgetting people's names. But
Jaheira. I remember Jaheira.
Yeah, Jaheira, and she respected me. I was like, because I was like, what I was telling her. So they let me right in. It was all cool. But what I didn't realize though, if you go upstairs and you meet the cleric lady, it triggers a bad cutscene where it gets everybody killed.
Yes. Oh my god.
She gets kidnapped and then eventually killed. And everybody gets attacked by demons, and the barrier breaks, the curse breaks in and kills everybody. I went farther than that, and then I eventually later on went back and redid it from that point on, because because if you don't do that, you miss out on a lot of things. So it was worth going back.
This is a very hard part of the campaign. I also didn't know she was going to get kidnapped. She got kidnapped in like a round or two. I mean, they just swarmed her and took her out.
Yeah.
The way I did it was I had my characters stationed around the various doors.
Yeah. And
took out, just like spammed the guy who's trying to take her.
Yeah.
And it ended up, that without them and healing her, the cleric, I mean, I was able to just do it, but it's very, very hard. And honestly, I even think it's not intended, but I mean, it almost feels like the game wants her to get kidnapped because it's so stacked against you. And they just keep trying to knock her out and kidnap her because Ketheric Thorm wants her alive. But yeah, it's a scary situation. And the first couple times I actually completely lost. Like I didn't die, but she got kidnapped, and then a cutscene happens. You can't do anything. And then everybody just dies. And I had this huge fight where I fought, by the way, background, I'm chaotic good. I love the Harpers. Harpers are basically my favorite faction. They are also chaotic good. And so I was so stoked to see the Harpers. And then I fucking killed all of them. I was like, no. And then I tried to console myself. I was like, well, at least the loot will be good, right? And then I looked at nobody. I was just playing by myself. I looked at nobody. I was like, that was fucking depressing. I'm reloading. That was my upside. Like, that was the bright side. Oh, well, the loot's gonna be good at least. But while I'm like getting the loot of my favorite faction in D&D, I'm like, nah, this is too fucking depressing. I'm going back. So I just kept doing it until I eventually saved her.
Right, and then from that point on, let's just go from the point where everybody's alive. All right, so we further ahead, and you need a lantern, or a pixie or whatever, or an object to get through the curse, right? And
or a torch. Well,
a torch.
You can use it. You can use a torch, but it will take up your weapon. So yeah.
Yeah. So So if you did rescue everybody, you get a party that joins you, right? Like, they send like rangers with you, so you're accompanied by people. The first time I did it without anyone, because everybody was dead, I just convinced the spider guy. He was like half elf, half spider, or whatever. He was carrying the lantern, and I convinced him to give me the lantern, and he doomed all his friends. My persuasion was so high, he doomed everybody.
Oh my god, the things you can do in this game with persuasion! I literally
I told him I was the chosen one.
Whole room of
do it for the god.
Yes, a whole room of characters to kill themselves. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. I did that as well.
Yeah.
So eventually you stumble. So you get the lantern, or did you get the lantern? Or did you do a torch?
Well, I didn't. I did get the lantern. Yeah. I didn't even need it for a while because I had the torchlight, and then I got Saloon's protection, so it wasn't a huge deal. But then I did eventually get the lantern, and I let the pixie go. I actually wasn't sure. I looked up a guide. I wasn't sure if that was the right thing because pixies are like known troublemakers within D&D lore. So I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to do. Maybe she would trick me.
Yeah, I rescued her as well.
SOL.
Yeah.
Right. But it turns out if you free her, she actually does live up to her end of the bargain. She gives you this little pixie blessing boon thing, and so you're just immune to the shadow curse.
Right. Exactly. And. Yeah. So you get that, and then eventually
it's also the morally right thing to do because I mean she's basically being tortured in there to magically produce the light that the lantern has that protects you. So it's like kind of an ethical dilemma.
Right. And so we rescue the pixie, and then we go to like the tower. Right? Did you go to the tower first?
Yeah. I went everywhere besides the tower. I did the tower absolutely last. I did the Gauntlet of Shar and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so you did all that after? Oh, before? Okay. So
the first place I wanted to make sure I was very powerful. Yeah.
Gotcha. The first place I went to was actually the manor. I think. Yeah, the manor. It was like with the surgeon guy. Did you fight him?
That's right. Yes. And so this is the space where I was just talking about. I was able to. My persuasion was so high because I had like Shadowheart was giving me a boon, and then I had like Blessings of the Circle, which gave me +2 to persuasion. I had some gear that was giving me plus. My natural persuasion was already pretty good because I'm a rogue. And it wasn't a charisma build by any means, but it was still good. And so I just kept rolling like in the 20s, and I think even like I almost got into the 30s at one point in terms of my rolls. And I just convinced this really fucked up surgeon guy who was completely gone from. I mean, he was basically a servant of Shar, but he was completely taken over by the Shadow Dark curse, I think, and just driven completely insane. And so he was operating on this guy who's not under anesthesia at all and completely suffering. I'm pretty sure I put him out of his misery afterwards.
Yeah.
I tried to heal him at first, but it didn't work. Yeah. The game's like, cannot heal inanimate objects. I'm like, the man's in pain. But anyway, so I convinced them all to just kill each other. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like you could prove yourself to Shar and have all these nurses fighting each other?
Yeah.
So all these like fucked up nurses from like, I swear to God, like not Amityville Horror, like that horror show that's on TV a lot. I can't remember what it's called, but it has like a season where it's in the asylum and stuff, and one where it's in the circus, and one where it's nice.
American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. It's like those American Horror Story kind of nurses. And so I convinced them all to fight each other and kill each other. And then I convinced him to just like stab himself with a scalpel right through his fucking face. It was awesome, but also like Kim was looking over, was like, what the fuck is happening in that game right now? Like, I didn't know this was a horror game. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. I actually fought him regularly, and it took me like I barely beat him like with an inch. Like he got stuck in like the same 3 moves over and over again, and I just like so I was able to beat him before he was able to do something. I got an achievement for like doing something. I didn't know what I was doing, but I took everybody, so I kind of just trapped him in like a corner, and he just kept spamming. He kept killing one character, like while knocking them out. So I used that character as a guinea pig and just let that person get knocked out. And I eventually just it took longer, but eventually that strategy worked for me. Because I didn't have enough to persuade him. I did try. I saved, sure. And I reloaded.
How did the Gauntlet of Shar go for you? Because that's one of the other big parts of Act 2.
The Gauntlet of Shar was pretty smooth for me, I thought.
Yeah.
The first trial was annoying with the stealth. I totally forgot that you can go invisible.
Yeah.
So I was doing it the hard way, and I was stealthing it. I was crouching and stuff. Yeah. I was like,
yeah. Even as a rogue, it took me a few tries, and honestly, I kept seeing the gate, and then like I would get to the gate, and I'd be like, oh, I guess there's nothing I can do. And then I noticed, like, I right-clicked it, and there's a lockpick option. I'm like, I'm a dumbass. I'm a rogue. What the fuck am I doing? I don't need permission to go in through this door. I'm a rogue. Yeah. So I just lockpicked it. It was great.
And I know you were supposed to get a key, so I got the key. I opened it. So one time I was invisible, it was a piece of cake. I didn't.
Yes.
That was my second playthrough because I remember I went back earlier. So.
Right.
The second time I was like flying through it. The second one was like you had to fight yourself, like Shadow version.
Yeah, that was fine. I didn't feel like it was that tough.
It was a little annoying just because one character. It was like I think it was my guy was a rogue again. I changed my class rogue at the time, and he was like shadow stepping all over the place, and he was like messing with me. He was screwing my party over. But so that was a little tough for me in that fight, but I did manage it. And then the third one was a piece of cake. It was just like walk the path.
That's the one I had the most trouble with. So screw you. I had to look up a guide how to do it. It's trial and error. It's one of those trial and error where it's like there's an invisible path, but if you know what path to go, it's easy. Also, if you have Karlak, I had Karlak, and she can, or if you Lae'zel is also really helpful.
My guy probably did it too.
Because of her enhanced jump.
Yeah.
So you can just jump from platform to platform to artifact. But yeah, it took me a couple tries, and after you fail like 3 times, your characters just start dropping, and I was like, oh, okay. So.
I just walked straight. I thought it was like a path to just follow, and I didn't know there was like a whole thing to it. Honestly, like I just followed the path.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
my perception was higher. I don't know.
Well, you know what it is they tell you the path actually on the beginning mural thing.
Oh, I just walked.
And I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you didn't even notice that? How the hell did you figure out the path?
I just walked straight. I followed the path, and I was on the end.
You just walked straight the whole way?
I didn't walk straight. I mean, what do you mean? I just followed the path, and it was right there. Like I didn't know that. Like I figured maybe I just had something like a certain character with me, or just something that just saw it automatically. So
it could have been your strength. Was your character, or your whole party, or who?
My character was fully strength. Maybe because I had Shadowheart with me.
Okay, so that.
I don't know.
Maybe I had Shadowheart with me too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, it was tough for me.
Yeah.
So
also there's a devil guy in there as well.
Raphael.
No, Raphael's in the entrance.
So this was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this was funny. So Raphael wanted me to go into this temple to kill his nemesis.
Same.
I had this whole fight where I was trying to stealth around. I was trying to get to the left of them and make sure I caught him off guard.
Right.
And what ended up happening was this displacer beast actually caught me, and so the hunter became the hunted. I was taken completely off guard, and all his guys started rushing towards like the edge of their side to like do long range stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of them couldn't reach me.
Yeah.
And so I just kept spamming like fireball and like scrolls and stuff like that. And then I was terrified of him. He was like a level 10 character, and I was like level 7 or something like that. And so I was terrified. And I just like took him out. And then I didn't take him out. I was terrified, and like I just started running away. I did a long rest. I came back, and I just like 4v1'd him, and I fucking killed him. And Raphael, I don't remember even if he rewards you, but what ended up happening is I did the whole temple, not really in reverse, but in a weird order, where I did that fight with Ygir, who we'll see later on in a incredible quest, one of the best side quests of all time, honestly. And then you also you have the trials, right, which I did, but you also have this room where there's Balthazar, and there's all these skeletons and stuff like that. And I got into this huge fight between me, the skeletons, and the ancient Shar disciples.
Same.
And like they just took each other out, and then I picked off the remains.
Yeah. Well, Ygir.
So it was.
Ygir is the devil guy I was talking about. The guy, I killed him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the door opened to Balthazar, and I tried to take on Balthazar after a long rest, but he had Cloud Kill, which is one of the most powerful spells, honestly, in the game. And he just fucking wrecked me.
That was a zombie mage guy, like the guy in charge.
Yes, yeah, the necromancer.
I fought him later, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
You're
supposed to fight him. Well, not supposed to, but you can fight him later in this big epic battle.
That's
but I totally skipped that. I just killed him in the Gauntlet of Shar. Yeah.
Oh, I fought him in the big epic battle. We'll talk about that. First of all, Ygir. I think it's Ygir.
Sure. Ygir, I don't know.
He's the character I convinced I convinced all his henchmen to kill each other, like just take each other out. Like they all committed suicide. If your perception was really, really high, you can convince him to commit suicide to break his pact. So
you mean your persuasion?
I said persuasion, right? That's what I said.
You said perception.
Oh, my bad. So if your persuasion's 30, you can actually convince him to commit suicide.
Yes, it's. I've seen clips of that. Very funny, and God, I wish I had gone down that route instead.
But he wasn't hard to beat when he was just by himself.
Yeah. I mean, he has the bombs and stuff, but they take a round or two to blow up, and even when they do blow up, I mean, they definitely do good damage, but they're not like, they don't one shot you or whatever.
Yeah, because
it's not the end of the world.
I could have broke his pact. I think you can break his pact by like killing rats, and that counts as like the massacre he had to do in his song or whatever. But I didn't.
That's right. That's why the rats were there. Okay.
Yeah, they kept trying to talk to me and telling me like, "Don't kill us. Stop killing us." Like, if you have if you were able to talk to the animals, they can talk to you.
Yes, talk with animals is like one of the best spells in the whole game.
Yeah.
You just get endless delight over it. Shout out to Scratch, who's best boy. Always gave him a good pet. So love me some Scratch.
Definitely. And so at the end, I did all the trials and everything, and we get to rescue the angel, right? What's her name? Remember her name?
I don't remember her name either. God.
Yeah. Well, I go down there.
The Warrior of Seluna, basically.
So why are you looking that up? So I go down there and I confront the guy, the big zombie mage guy, Balthazar.
Yeah, Balthazar. Yeah.
And I fight him like a big epic battle. Now, his fight is easy depending on how lucky you get where he stands, right? You can push him off the cliff. Like, he'll back up all the way in the back, and if you're a strength build, you can like dash over there, and push him off. But a lot of times he was just not cooperating with that strategy for me. And also it got annoying because those big guards he had with around him can kick you off the cliff, and you start off near the cliff. So it was an annoying fight, but I did power through it, and I convinced Shadowheart not to turn to the dark side, even though her whole life like was meant for that moment. But I was like, nah, be a good person, and I think it's a good thing if you rescue her, because I think she really would become evil, I think.
Yeah. So
I convinced her, and the angel lady decided I'm gonna go take out everybody in the Shadowlands. So she starts like flying away. And she pretty much wipes out, like, there's a really cool cutscene where she's like attacking the entire Shadowland place and killing everybody.
Yeah, that was so cool where she's flying up above and she's like, the light is like cutting through the gray. Like, you really feel like you're making a difference in this game, and it's so cool.
Definitely. And so, because you're supposed to kill her if you wanted to with the spear, right? And you do get the spear back later on, even though.
So you're not even really punished, honestly. You like get the spear either way, and it's a decent weapon. But at that point, I found the Blood of Lathander or something like that. This incredible legendary item. So I just kept using that instead. But it was still really cool.
Yeah.
You get Char's spear or something like that. So the Moon Knight Glaive, I believe it is.
Yeah. That was
Spear of Night, something like that.
Yeah, that was her main weapon for her Shadowheart for rest
Dame Aelin. There we go, Dame Aelin, and Isabel. That was her name.
Yeah, Isabel.
She turns out to be Ketheric Thorm's daughter. So big spoilers there. But yeah.
Right. So I storm the castle, the temple now. Right now it's time to like get revenge, or not revenge, but like take them all out. Right. And. Yep. The first time it was really hard because I was by myself because everybody was dead. Second time, way easier. And I cheesed it a little bit because there was so many enemies in the main room, right? So they were all. I would just back up and make them come to me, and they would all get trapped in the hallway, like in the front entrance hallway, and I just spammed like Cloak of Daggers and all the AOE moves, so they would just stumble into it. All those AOE stuff, and then those mage guys were casting like this dark like shadow stuff that would hurt you as well, but it also hurts them. So they were just stuck, like completely stuck in like a bunch of AOE stuff. So it was way easier the second time. And basically we fought through all the big second bosses. We fought. They're like, you gotta fight the entire temple to get up to the final boss, which, like I said, is easier the second time. Good.
The stronghold was I was very nervous about it. But having Dame Aylin on my side, having the Isabel, having all of the group with me that I mentioned earlier, they just were such a huge help. I felt bad. Jaheira did die for me in that battle, and it turns out that she would have been really helpful for a fight later on with Minsk. But I let her die. I like Jaheira, but I mean, it felt like a good way for her to go out.
Yeah.
But Dame Aylin was such a great companion there. Oh, you froze for me.
You froze for me as well. Actually.
Oh, that was fun.
Yep. Good. I can always edit all this.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, Dame Aylin was such a huge help, and eventually you damage Ketheric Thorm, who's like this general, and you're able to hurt him enough that he goes into this this tentacle like breaks through, comes out of nowhere, breaks through this tower, and then he like jumps in, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
He smacks her, and she gets like smacked, and she like poof, and I was like, is she dead? I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I thought she was dead too. And yeah, I ended up with Ketheric Thorm's fight. I ended up beating him first try. It wasn't honestly that hard because I felt like I was adequately leveled. B, I had Dame Aylin, and C, like I knew what to focus on, and like I had such good persuasion. I talked Ketheric Thorm into just killing himself, and then he gets replaced by an avatar of his god. So I mean, you still get a boss fight. It's not like it's basically like Mass Effect 1, where you talk the boss into killing himself, and then you still have a fight anyway.
Yeah, and then
which is fine.
Yeah.
I had to actually go back. Sorry, one last thing. I had to go back and do this fight over again because I missed out on freeing Zevlor and some of the other people from the tanks. And
yeah,
so
I did that too. And then Will died.
Yeah.
Because I didn't rescue the devil lady because his contract.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, you can actually kill her right then and there, or you can barter for his contract and stuff like that. At this point, me and Will were in a romantic relationship, which is beautiful, by the way. I loved it a lot, and they really like eke it out throughout the campaign. It doesn't feel too fast or too slow. I mean, maybe more towards slow, but it was great for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, how did these fights go for you for Ketheric Thorm?
Yeah, I beat them all in the first try. So I didn't really have a problem with those fights. I thought the big skeleton boss that you mentioned was cool looking, but it wasn't that hard, really. I just spammed Cloak of Daggers where it was like sitting, and he just like it did so much damage to that boss.
Yeah. And again, having Dame Aylin is so helpful there.
Definitely, but you do have to go rescue her in the corner first.
Yes, and I actually
go ahead.
Because I'm a rogue, I was able to stealth over there, use the help action, and then that revealed me from my invisible potion or whatever. But yeah, you have to fight a Mind Flayer, some skeletons, and then this big avatar of Ketheric Thorm kills himself.
Yeah, and then I was able to get there fast because I can dash because I had a lot of endurance, but also Carla can do the same thing, so she can jump far, so that was helpful.
Yep.
So I had Gale, so he was like doing all the AoE spells on all the side enemies. That made the fight easy.
Did you ever choose to have him blow himself up or no?
I did that actually on that right there. After beating all those bosses, I wanted just for shits and giggles.
Yeah,
and I beat the game right there. I got credits right there.
Yeah, you got the credits. I was surprised when you told me that you got the credits. I'm like, how the fuck did he beat Act 3 already? But then I saw, the choice that Gale gives you, and I was like, oh, that's how.
Yeah, I was joking.
Cheeky bastard.
So I technically got the achievement for beating the game, but with a good ending. Right there.
Yeah, you can beat Baldur's Gate, and I mean speedrunners already have it down to I think like a half an hour, like basically playing as Gale and then getting to that spot and just blowing up the Elder Brain, and it saves you obviously a ton of time. Obviously, if you avoid side quests and take various feats, and you can move out of bounds and stuff like that, it's wild. But it's very similar to the dumb playthrough of Outer Worlds, where you just send your ship into the sun, and then you hit credits, you get game over. At least this one is a little more intelligent, has more purpose. But yeah, I thought this fight was really cool, and I did have to go back and play it again, but I still beat it in the first try, and beat Getherick Thorm, and we're on to Act 3 at that point is Baldur's Gate. Oh, I do want to quickly mention the whole side quest with Halsin and freeing the land of the Shadow Curse was very rewarding. You do get, you get the whole land cleansed and stuff like that. You have to play like a really fucked up game of hide and go seek with the ancient spirit of the land, who has been taken over by the Shadow Curse, and it's really good stuff, writing wise, character wise, everything wise. If we haven't mentioned already, I mean the writing's just outstanding in this game.
Right.
Just quintessentially RPG.
You ready to move on to Act 3? I think we hit on.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure there's lots of stuff that we're missing, but that's the long and short of Act 2.
Yeah, we gotta simplify it a little bit, just because it'd be like a 6-hour show if we hit on everything. So
Act 3.
Act 3. So we just So who are the three big three? Like, so we killed Thorn, right? What's his name?
Right. Thorm and
then
who the fuck are the? It's the dead three, right?
Yeah.
One of them is the guy who has all the like machines.
Yes. And the other lady that can't die.
And the lady who is fucking insane. So I forget who the fuck they are. The chosen dead three. I forget their names.
Yeah. So basically, Act 3 turns into that. It turns into killing the last two of the dead three to get an object in order to control the Elder Brain or defeat it. So they've released the Elder Brain, right? It's out in the loose, and the armies are forming, and it's going to attack Baldur's Gate. And you
Gortash and Orin.
Gortash and Orin. So
Orin. Yep.
So basically, Elder Brain's loose. It has forming an army, and we have to get those three objects to control it or defeat it or whatever. So it's up to you. Yep. And so right at the beginning of Act 3, like when you're in camp, you get attacked, like by the
Gith, right?
The Gith, yeah. They become the enemies,
this is a tough fight.
The antagonist of Act 3. If you wanted them to be. So what happens is you get attacked, right? But you don't really have to fight them. You can just get to the portal. Well, as long as one character clicks on the portal, everybody gets teleported away.
I love that. It's so generous.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. That would have been so annoying. You had to do one character at a time. And then,
you do have to do that at the end game, but everything else.
Yeah. So that happens, and basically the Mind Flayers fighting the Gith, because the Emperor, as you meet, was the guy the narrator or the person in your head the entire time, right? I suppose in my playthrough it was a female Drow.
In mine it was a female half-orc.
Oh, really?
I just wanted to pick the most, like, I knew I picked the most basic race.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the coolest thing I could pick? And I picked half-orc because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to see any other half-orcs any other way. So yeah, it was very cool.
But it turns out it was the Emperor the whole time. And despite his
Palpatine
name,
has returned somehow.
Despite his name, though, he's not a bad person. Like, and I thought his story was very interesting about how, like, he was like a rogue, he only ate the brains of the criminals and
the criminals. Yeah, I thought that was still messed up, but
it was messed up. But it was so interesting.
It was interesting. Did you end up doing the worm quest? WYRM, not WORM. Did you end up doing the dragon under Baldur's Gate? Did you end up doing that quest?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So we end up finding eventually that the Emperor is Baldur himself.
Yeah.
The guy whose Baldur's Gate is named after. I ended up actually, so I wanted to. So the main thing that you got to do in this act is you've got to somehow hamper Gortash by destroying the City Watch, and then do that for Orin, and she'll let you in. And so the way I did it was I did this huge mission to get Gortash, and I destroyed the City Watch. It took me a few tries. I actually managed to stealth my way all the way down by myself, my rogue, because I was like level 10 or whatever at this point.
Yeah.
And so I could literally go stealth at any time I wanted to, because you have like super sneak or something.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do jack shit because I didn't have the codes from the blind dwarf. I forget his name. And so I went all the way back up, and it was fucking nerve-wracking because I was running low on potions and stealth abilities and stuff. But I was able to do it, and I teamed up with the dwarves there. They have a specific name, and I was able to eventually take out the boss, take out the City Watch. And what ended up happening was Gortash was a lot easier that way, but he was still very difficult because he had all these turrets. I don't. How difficult was he for you? Because he had all these fucking turrets that would throw out like fireballs and grenades. Not fireballs, the spell, but like literally like grenades and concussion stuff.
Okay, I have 2 different playthroughs in this case. I fought him in 2 different ways. So that one you mentioned, yes, it was hard, definitely hard. The second time, I just confronted him, like by I went along with his plans and everything, and I was by him. Yeah. We were alone in the room, and there was a couple of bosses around, like a couple of guards with him, but it was like way easier.
Right.
Just in the throne room or whatever. So actually, you know what? I had 3 ways of killing him. I could have done the one you mentioned, right? The one you fought him. Then there was one where I went along with everything he was saying, and I just like decided to break the deal with him and attack him. And the third time was like he had a ceremony for me in the throne room, and everybody was there and cheering and everything, and I confronted him there. But that one I didn't like to do because it's way too dangerous because everybody's there, and way too many guards. And Will's dad's there. But he had to die anyway at some point, just because there was no best choice for that one. So ultimately, the playthrough I went through, I decided to roll with for my final ending is the going along with his plan, because he's not a great guy, but he wasn't like pure evil. He was like what he was saying made sense. What he was saying was making sense. But I still didn't trust him at the end though.
Right. He's a total narcissist a charismatic narcissist who like believes what he's doing is best for the city, but is actually best for him. Yeah. But he's still the better option over the lady who's covered in blood. So like, I'm gonna take him if I got to.
Yeah.
And obviously Thorm was probably the quote unquote the best out of all of them. Yeah. This fight was really tough. I mean, he wasn't tough. I actually threw something at him, and he fell prone. And I didn't even mean it was like an alchemist fire. And for some reason, he fell prone. Maybe he slipped, or I don't know what. And all my characters just fucking wailed on him. He was like at the way top of the building. And I had to fight my way from the bottom to the top. And I was able to take long rests and stuff. It wasn't a huge deal, but those grenades and shit fucking really sucked, and I was very frustrated with them. But yeah, I didn't even have to go into the top where he was in like a church. It was funny because the camera would keep zooming way out, and it would go into this like dark area because I'd never been there before.
Yeah.
And Gortash would be moving around in this dark area doing various spells, and I'd be like, "Bro, what are you doing? I'm nowhere near you." But yeah, I ended up fighting Gortash, and then I ended up eventually finding Orin, and she was easy. I was like level 12 at this point, which is the max. I beat Orin. I didn't have any trouble there, really. I mean, she was a little tricky in parts, but yeah.
I beat her on the first try.
Yeah, I did too. Lae'zel being there was really helpful. It was actually really great that she kidnapped Lae'zel, because I was like, hey, that's my least favorite companion, so no big deal.
Well, actually, before we get into that fight...
Yeah.
So, Act 3, you were able to explore, like, Baldur's Gate, and it was, like,
That's right.
really beautiful. Now, this is where my problem with the game starts happening, where, like, there was a lot of bugs and glitches, and it didn't feel like they optimized or play-tested Act 3 as much. Like, I don't think people...
those problems.
I'm not sure people are going to have this problem later on. I'm not sure people are going to have this problem, like, in the future, because...
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they were still working on, like, patching that out.
Patches, yeah.
Yeah, this is early.
I had this problem, too, but what I did... I had major shading issues throughout Act 3 at first.
Yeah.
What I did was I stopped launching it through Steam, and I just launched it natively from my PC, fixed everything. Not going to say that's going to work for everybody, but it worked for me.
Yeah.
And I barely had any glitches after that. I will say I have upgraded my gaming PC to 16 gigs of RAM, and so it ran beautifully. I was on ultra settings. It looked gorgeous, but definitely I had some glitches here and there. Even with that, that I agree with Seb. Will probably be eased out or eased off of.
Yeah.
You know, I saw somebody online who's like, it would be a CRPG if the final act was all glitchy and stuff. I mean, think of fucking KOTOR 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately well within the lineage, and that's no excuse, of course. But
Sure.
it's not. But it's also not. It was never game breaking. I did have some crashes throughout my 150 hours of playing.
I didn't have that though. Surprisingly, I had no crashes.
Yeah, no crashes. Wow.
Just bugs.
It was. I think mostly it was when I had taken a long rest and the game was trying to refresh the whole map and like all the characters at once and stuff. It was just like a lot for the game to handle. But yeah, I mean, definitely there were some problems in Act 3.
I had a lot of lag too. Yeah, right. Yes. Way too much lag. Like I would click a button and nobody would move for like 2 seconds. It was very annoying.
Yeah, I had that issue with NPCs sometimes when enemy AI would be trying to do a move and I'd just be sitting there for like 10-15 seconds. They wouldn't fucking do anything.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
But in terms of Baldur's Gate itself, the city was really cool, really well designed, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I really liked exploring the circus. There was a cool moment where like
that was so fun.
They get attacked by shapeshifters. All that stuff.
Did you bring the clown back together? Because I didn't. I gave up on it.
I gave up on it. I was like, you know what? I'm tired.
It wasn't worth it. His body parts were all throughout the fucking city. Like I had every single one except one, and I was like, this just isn't worth it. It's just too much work.
Because by that point, I was already like level 11 or 12 or whatever, and I was like, I don't need this. I'm already at the end.
Yeah, and I was tempted to, because you know how I feel about puns, but like I even puns wouldn't justify that side quest. I was like, this is way too much work just for a minor NPC.
Yeah, that mission was weak. I thought it just wasn't that interesting. It could have been cooler. I stumbled onto it on accident, just one of the body parts, because I was doing the murder investigation too.
The murder investigation, yep.
And that led you to like the clown's like torso or whatever, if I remember correctly. So
yeah.
So I was doing that. Go ahead.
What sucks is that well, this is very very different topic, but like you can go to the caress, the soft caress or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
Basically a brothel. And it's great. You can have a conversation with like these drow that work there.
Yeah.
I think they're related, which is a little awkward. But
you can have never mind.
Yeah. They basically ask you if you like want to have sex with them.
So I'm saying,
or like with one of them.
Threesome. You can have a foursome or threesome.
Yeah. And I was like, Will, I mean, I'm up for it if you are. And he's like, well, I want romance, not debauchery. I'm like, oh, Will, you're no fun. God damn it. So the one time I was going to get horny in the gameplay, Will stopped me. But let it be known, I did try to get horny. I also, like I mentioned earlier, tried to have a polyamorous relationship with Halston, which is so fucking cool that you can do that in a video game. Because I'm myself polyamorous. So it's a very cool like representation thing.
Yeah, you can be non-binary in this game. So that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, you can be non-monogamous, you mean, or non-binary, or just
no,
your
gender. Your gender, yeah.
Yeah. I was
so many
non-binary.
options.
It was great. Yeah, I was basically a non-binary person who looked feminine, which is just like my ideal presentation.
Yeah.
So it was great. The whole thing was awesome. Baldur's Gate was incredible. There's just, by that I mean the city. There's so much to do, so much to look at. So what's wrong with taking the back streets?
I thought that's.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway,
it was a little intimidating at first though, 'cause I was like, "Oh my god, there's so much to do." Is this gonna be another 200 hours? But it was. I really liked the side quest. I really liked the murder mystery. I liked the little flying elephant guy. So let's fast forward a little bit. We both fought the vampire lord as well.
Yes.
What did you end up doing with the prisoners? Did you kill them all, or did you spare them?
So I ended up killing him in his coffin, and I guess that killed the prisoners. I'm not completely clear on it, but it seems like killing him in his coffin, which does finally kill him, kills the prisoners as well. So I didn't have to make a choice. They were just dead.
Oh, I made the choice, but I still killed them because even though like there was children and with the crowd and stuff, they were like rabid vampires. And if we just released like 500 vampires out in the open, even though like a lot of them were good, a lot of them were bad. It would have killed a lot of people. So it was one of those like tough choices. But I was like, I gotta make the tough choice.
I luckily didn't have to do any murder of children, which is great on my conscience. I just killed him, and it instantly killed all the people in the prisons.
Yeah, I mean, I got the same result. They all just kind of just like melted, turned to ash or whatever.
Yeah. So that was a bummer.
Mysterian,
the fight itself was very, very hard. The problem isn't even the vampire guy, right? The problem is that goddamn fucking wizard that he has with him that keeps casting eye bite on you, and it puts you to sleep, and you just can't do anything. So I on my first try I got absolutely trounced. On my second try I'm like, fuck this one guy in particular.
We're all gonna
fireball. Just like absolutely annihilated him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love the mage, like the sorcerer. The Gale
good.
was really great. Party
Gale was the goat. Gale was he was so useful all the time.
It's
him and Shadowheart were so good. And then when I didn't have, what sucked is, this is overall game stuff, but like Will kind of has like the weakest build for me, or at least he did in the game.
He fell off for me. He's
trying to do too much, and he just ends up being kind of average on all of it. So I was so tempted to always replace him with like Shadowheart, but I loved Will's character so much, and obviously I was in a romantic relationship with him, so I just couldn't bounce him. So I was in a weird spot where I was like, yeah, mechanically I should boot you, but storyline wise that would be weird. Not boot him from the party, but send him back to camp and stuff like that. So it was a weird dynamic. I still loved him though, and he still had great spells. I mean, the thing with warlocks is you can cast. All the spells that you cast are at max damage inherently, so you don't have to worry about various. Yeah, and he's not useless in close combat either. So
by that point, my party was pretty set in stone. I had to have Asterion just because he had to do it for the mission. But Shadowheart was with me pretty much the entire 2 acts, the last 2 acts basically. Karlach was with me the entire.
Very useful.
And then my third person always changed, so it depended on the fight. But Will kind of fell off for me, like not as the character, but more so like just he didn't fit my party that well, so I didn't really use him anymore.
Did you do the prison? Saving everybody from the prison, underwater prison?
Yes, I did that.
Yes. Oh my fucking god, that had got to have been the most tense thing. I tried it once, and I almost got Will's father out blind, which I couldn't believe. But I ended up looking up a guide. I'm like, what the fuck should I be doing here? So I got Potions of Speed, I got Dimension Door, I got Scroll of Dimension Door, I got Misty Step. I'm like, go motherfucking go.
I used the guide for that as well, and I ran.
Yes, I had to use the guide
as well.
You know me, I have no sense of direction, so immediately I'm like completely overwhelmed. But I did get Amalea out, and I got some of the dwarves out, and then I got his father out. And of course, because I had reneged on not reneged, but like I basically said, like, Will's gonna break his contract, and we're gonna steal back his father. Fuck you, Mizora. So she was pissed, and she sent a whole bunch of like exploding infernal creatures after his father.
Oh, by that point, yeah. Although my playthrough, like I said, I have different playthroughs. She comes to our camp. Did you get that where the devil?
Yes. Very awkward.
They like a ritual. Awkward. They try to do a ritual, right? And that's where I sacrificed the dad. Because it didn't make any sense for Will to sacrifice himself for his dad, who was like older and kind of already brainwashed. And I was like, Will, there's no point, because Will can take over, right? Because he can inherit the power and help people, right?
The way I did it was that it seems like when he talked to Will, I know you didn't have Will around as much, so maybe this wasn't in your playthrough, but whenever he was talking to Will, he would start kind of snapping out of the being mind possessed. So that was a hint to me that it was possible for him to somehow break through, and he does. Like, once you save him, you can get him under the Emperor's control, And yeah, we should talk more about the Emperor because it's a big choice you have to make with him. But I was able to have the best of both worlds, my cake and eat it too.
We actually talked about the Emperor, and then we went on total sidetrack.
Yeah, we got super sidetracked.
But you meet him.
So the Emperor ends up being a mind flayer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
you can romance him too.
Yes, you can romance him, which is interesting. I was not interested.
Yeah.
But he did come on to me, and I was like, no, it's not that way. I'm sorry. You find out that the reason you have not been... So, by the way, you have the parasite in you the whole time still throughout all this. And the reason you haven't been mind controlled is they've been using the powers of a very particular Gith, this prince, who has the powers to like never be possessed by, never like go through ceramorphosis or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And but he's basically being tortured. And so I was like, this seems like not cool, you know. But I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't break him free.
Right.
So I wasn't sure how to do anything. And what I ended up doing, my God, we're going to go on another side digression here. I apologize, but it's worth it. This is one of the best side quests in the whole game. So, or if not the best. So I was looking for potions in Alderaan places, and I went to the Devil's, whatever the fuck it's called, with the lady who is the a servant of Moloch or something, the Devil of Greed.
Yeah.
And I said to her, hey, I know you were working with Gortash because I've already killed Gortash at this point. And she's like, oh, well, you know, here's something you could do for me. And she's like, how about you go into hell and get these arms for me? And then I'm like, okay, bet. So I went into hell. This is like, I'm like ready to wrap up the game, right? Because I've already killed Gortash. I'm on my way to kill Orin. And after that, it's just the Elder Brain. And I've got almost all the side quests. So I'm pretty much done with the game. So it's at like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. for me. And I'm like trying to go to bed in the next hour or two. Not even finish the game. Just beat Orin. I'm happy. And so I go into hell. I go into the House of Hope. I free this dwarf lady called Hope. It takes me a couple tries. And I have to fuck around with invisibility and shit. But I get her. And I steal this hammer that can free the Gith, the Prince Gith. I end up having this fight with Raphael, and this fucking fight is so awesome because the voice actor who does Raphael has an incredible voice, and the song that plays, I mean, oh my God, it is just I don't even know, it is just incredible. You've got to play it if you haven't already. And the battle was so intense. I didn't figure out if the pillars were important or destructible until it was a little too late. But I still was able to destroy them through Eldritch Blast and hitting them with a hammer and stuff. And I did beat him and save Hope. The first try, I didn't save Hope. But the second try, I went back and I did save Hope. But it took me some reloading and stuff because she's a healer and she's not... Yeah. It's one of the best... I honestly think it's one of the best side quests in all video games. It's so fucking cool. You literally go into hell. You are getting chased by these infernal beings, and you know there's an archdevil on his way, so you're like frantically trying to get the fuck out of there before Raphael figures out. I had to kill his lover too, who was like in a leather daddy outfit. That was awkward. It's just a whole fucking thing. So I got the hammer. I don't know if you did all this, Seb, but it was crazy. I got the hammer, and then I did free the Gith Prince, and that. This is my one problem with Act 3 narratively. Now, I understand, if you know in the lore, Gith and Mind Flayers have always hated each other. Mind Flayers enslaved the Gith. The Gith eventually broke free. Yada yada. It's a whole fucking thing. Yeah. So the Emperor's like, that. You're siding with the Gith. Yeah, you're siding with the Gith over me. Nah, fuck you. And I was like, that's a little sudden, man. Like,
oh yeah,
I get it. But it felt a little forced. It felt like, well, if you're not with me, you're against me. I'm like, dude, we've been partners this whole time. So, yeah.
I didn't do all that.
How did this play out for you?
I killed all the Gith. I took out their whole, like, there was like I was with the Emperor all the way. I actually let him eat the prince's head, like, later on.
Wow. Holy shit, Seb.
Yeah. Because it made him stronger. It made him stronger against the Elder Brain, so.
Wow.
So I did that. I killed all the Gith because they were just like rude. I just killed them all because I was rude.
The ultimate sin, rude.
Yeah, they were just annoying. And then I actually what's her name? Odin or Oda? How do you say her name?
Orin.
Sorry. Orin's like dad or uncle or whatever. Did you fight him?
Yes.
I killed him. I got his helmet, which was really awesome. It looked amazing on my build.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then I rescued the elephant guy, right? I didn't do the whole hammer thing. I knew of it. I just didn't do it.
Yes. Oh my god, it's such a good quest.
Yeah.
Maybe on
my when I play on PS5, I'll go do that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I do want to briefly mention that because, oh no, this is after. This is later. Let's keep moving. So yeah, you eventually figure out the murder thing, or you take Gortash's hand or whatever. So we're fighting Orin.
Yeah, we're fighting Orin.
How was that fight? That was pretty easy, right?
Like I said, we took her. I beat her on the first try. Her uncle or dad or whatever was harder, way harder than that.
Yeah, that had like a gimmick to it. I can't remember. Yeah,
it had like
even the initiation.
It had like 3 ladies that kept casting spells or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Right, sanctuary and all this stuff on him, so you couldn't attack him. You had to attack them.
But for the sake of pacing, because we're gonna go too long. Basically, we take Orin out, we take Gortash out, right? Gorat, what his name is. And then
Gortash,
and then we get to the Elder Brain. So let's get right to the Elder Brain part.
Right.
So Elder Brain attacks Baldur's Gate, like it's the big climb. Like the climax in this game is phenomenal. Like it's really memorable.
Absolutely.
Because you just been in the city for how long, right? Like so the city you were just in for like 150 hours. Let's say you played that long. Actually, it could be that long if you wanted it to be. It's getting attacked. There's dragons everywhere. There's mind flayers everywhere. The whole city is fighting, right? And there's a really cool shot, like when you're standing there and you see the Elder Brain floating over the city, and there's like all the ships flying, and it's a really awesome shot. I wish I took a screenshot. I think actually I might have actually taken it. I know I actually did take it, but I didn't post it because I didn't want to spoil it for anyone. Now I can post it actually on the Discord. And yeah, you basically get a giant army with you, and you can fight. You fight like a whole army of every enemy.
It's the classic RPG moment. Yeah, all the allies you've had. It's the Mass Effect moment.
Which I love.
Yeah, it's so great. It works every fucking time. Now, they just get all the allies. Yeah, and it's great.
So let's speed it up a little bit. It did get annoying going up the tower. I thought just moving up that was a little annoying.
It sucked too because you could summon allies, but you could, but if they got hit by the bombs from the Nautiloid up above, they would get temporarily hostile to you.
Yeah.
By the way, really quick.
Sure.
I tried to outpower the brain. I couldn't. It was like a 99 DC or whatever. Even if you get a nat 20, it doesn't work. Plot armor, whatever. I had to have Karlach.
Yeah.
What's that?
You can actually
I had to
do it, which is crazy.
You can actually?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's crazy.
You can have one thing happen where you have yourself turn into a mind flayer or one of the other characters. And I had Karlach turn into a mind flayer. I don't know if you did or if you did any of that. I know you stuck with the Emperor, so maybe you didn't have to.
No.
But I had Karlach turn into a mind flayer, and that also saved her from her infernal engine because she still had it inside of her. But because she's a mind flayer now, I know we haven't been talking about it, but Gale's not the only one with a bomb inside of him. Karlach also has one, and you're giving kind of this rare infernal iron or whatever throughout the quest throughout the game to make it more bearable for her. But once she becomes a mind flayer, she's able to live peacefully. And she's not a tiefling anymore, but she's relatively at peace with it. And I didn't want to turn into a mind flayer. I resisted the added abilities that I was offered throughout the game.
I was with him 100%, but the only thing I told him no on was making me a mind flayer, enhancing my abilities. I was like, nah. So you move up and you fight the dragon, right? You fight remember that fight?
Yes.
And that wasn't by this point I'm pretty leveled, so I didn't really have much issue.
It was a tricky fight, but because you could summon in all of your allies, it's not as bad. Most of my allies also survived that first battle with all the various minions of the Absolute. But yeah, by this point you just need to make it over to the portal. All of you get in there, and you just 4v1 the Elder Brain. It doesn't take that long. It was tough. What was funny is that Gale was the last one. I didn't really need Gale at that point, ironically, because
I was
focusing on DPS. I was focusing on Karlach. Karlach was like my star at that point.
Yeah.
She had like such good equipment, and yeah, so it was me, Karlach, and Will, and all of us just 3v1ing the Mind Flayer. The Prince got in there too, and I think he landed a couple shots on the Elder Brain. But yeah, Gale literally showed up, and then I beat him the next round. So Gale was like showed up just for us to win. So it was very funny. But yeah, how did that fight, the climax, go for you?
Oh, the climax was really easy. Like I said, I had beat in the first try, pretty much steamrolled everybody. The brain was easy, I thought. But I thought it was really cool. I mean, I made a couple saves to make sure to get different endings, because I got the really good ending and the really bad ending, just to see what it was like. The really bad ending was really cool too, because you could take over the Elder Brain and basically run the show. And it shows all the citizens getting killed, and your eyes glow like purple or something like that. And it was really cool. I took a picture of that. But the good ending. So let's just because we go on for like 2 hours now. So let's start wrapping it up like the ending, right? So my ending. My ending was really good. Only downside was Karlach died because I didn't get enough to save her. But I thought it was very nice how she died. Like I thought she was happy with it, and she kind of died peacefully. Gale kind of got a little bitchy at the end. He was like, I didn't agree with him on something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he got a little upset with me. But he still said bye and everything. And Astarion can't be in the sun anymore, so he started catching on fire, and he had to run away in the shadows. That was funny.
Yeah.
Everybody else had a happy ending. Like what's her name? The Gith.
Shadowheart?
No, the Gith lady.
Lae'zel.
Yeah, she flew away on a red dragon, on a portal. And did you get that?
Yeah, I mean, because I saved the Prince, I was able to have her and him team up, and they're basically going to free the Gith from Vlaakith. So
okay. That was cool. So she did that on her own, my playthrough. Like I think that's what she was doing. And then Shadowheart, by this point, her hair was like white now. She changed her hair.
Yeah.
And she was my like lover, so me and her just like hooked up at the end, like finally. Like I think.
Did you save her? Did you save her parents?
That's the only thing I didn't do. I didn't do that.
I didn't do that either. I never found them anywhere.
I couldn't find them. Yeah.
I never found them anywhere. Yeah, I couldn't find them anywhere. So apparently it's a big, huge fight.
Oh, okay. But so we hooked up at the end. That was my reward, I guess. Like my guy finally had sex. That was like the final. Like that was my reward for.
And then just like in the credits, I just had sex starts blaring. I just had sex.
That's basically what happened. Like,
yeah.
But that was a very nice ending. But it was like sensual. It was a very like nice like moment. Like you finally had peace like in a room. You just gotta, and it just ends. But it's like you went through all that hell, and it's like now you could just like relax and.
Yeah, for sure. So my ending was also very nice. Lae'zel kind of deliberated. She was like, well, do you want me to stay with you, or do you want me to go help free the Gith? I was like, go for your people, like, you know. So she flew off with a fucking dragon. Is that a fucking dragon? Sorry. And then Gale was like, you know, hey, this has been awesome. I think I'm gonna stick around. I love, you know, being around y'all. So me and Gale were still pals. Will and I obviously had a deep relationship, and we decided that we would go into hell together to kill Mizora, which is awesome.
That's cool.
I only can imagine that Shadowheart and Gale and Karlach come with us, but I don't know. Karlach has kind of PTSD from hell. I don't know.
I forgot to mention because we forgot. We didn't even mention that Will turns into like a devil-looking person. So my contract was broken for him, so he was going to turn back to normal. But she said 6 months, so he was stuck that way for another 6 months. Yeah. The Will that I had broken his contract, and I saved his father, so Mizora was not happy. But he was like, I was like, Will, how are we going to go into hell, and without all your powers, you're going to fucking kill Mizora? He's like, well, the 3 pillars of Baldur's Gate are humility and courage and intellect. I'm like, bro, you lost your magic. So I don't know how that really goes, but we're level 12, so we'll figure it out, and we'll take Shadowheart and Gale at the very least, if not Karlach.
So yeah, I had a great ending, and Karlach was happy. She was a mind flayer, but I mean, she was happy. She was free to be her own being, and her infernal engine was still inside of her, but it completely quieted down. She could live her own life now. She had her whole life in front of her, so she didn't have to die. Shadowheart kind of had a not much of an ending because I didn't do the quest for her parents. So she kind of was just there, and it's like, hey, this has been fun. Let's keep hanging out, I guess. Yeah. And that was about it. That was my ending. I spent 150 hours. What was your total count?
65, 70 hours, I think.
75 what hours?
No, sorry. You didn't hear me? 60, like about 65, 70 hours, I want to say.
You mean like under 100 hours you beat it in?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Okay.
I think
I thought you meant 175 or 160.
No.
I was like, that makes sense. Oh my god.
Well, I didn't rush the game either. I don't feel like I rushed. I feel like
I don't understand. Seb and I had a conversation about this. I don't fucking understand how I spent 150 hours and Seb did 75 or whatever, and he feels like he didn't rush it. I don't know. This is wild to me that you beat it in under 100
I mean, there's
hours.
plenty of side missions I probably missed. There was side stuff that I missed accidentally. Like, I didn't intentionally just rush through it. I just missed it. But
and I did look at some guides to make sure that I didn't miss almost any side quest. I mean, I didn't do every side quest, obviously, because I missed Shadowheart and I didn't do the clown one, but I did almost every single quest.
I did enough where I was very happy. Like, I think I did a lot of side content.
That's fair, as long as you're happy with it.
I'm not somebody that puts 200 hours into a game personally, so like that. So even though people will probably get mad that like I didn't put like 200 hours into a game, even like Tears of the Kingdom, I love Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't put like 120 hours into it. I beat it in like 50 hours. Like that's enough.
Seb's not human.
That's enough for me.
Seb's not human.
That's enough for me. Why? Because I beat a lot of games that are long.
I think I don't fucking get how you beat it so goddamn fast. I lived and breathed this game. Okay, I had calls coming from inside the house from my own partner being like, "Where the hell are you? I haven't seen you in days." That didn't actually happen, but it might as well have happened. I mean, I jokingly told her, what if I started another campaign with a different character? She's like, I literally don't know what I would do if you did that. So, like, I don't know. Like, somehow I stayed up till 3 a.m, 4 a.m, like once or twice. Like, not that many times, but like a lot. Like, I had to reset my whole sleep schedule, which I've only recently, in the last few days, been able to do. It's crazy. So I don't know. This game consumes me.
I think, I did do things like I beat the game and then I would go back and do other stuff too as well.
Right,
so keep that in mind.
So maybe it didn't add to the hours.
Yeah, and then also keep in mind that I also like I wanted to get to the point where I just wanted to beat the game. I was like, I'm already here. I wanted to just get to it, and then when I want to go back, I'll go back. I made so many saves that I can always go back.
I definitely got that way when I was in Act 3 with a couple of the side quests.
Yeah, so I can always go back to this game at any time. Especially if there's saves carry over to PS5, I'll definitely, like, there's no... So, I didn't rush it. I was happy. I'm just not somebody that puts 200 hours in one game. I play a lot of games, and, like, I like to jump around, so... I was satisfied, very satisfied. It's my game of the year, so... So let's wrap it up. For both of us, it's game of the year.
Absolutely.
The story is amazing, absolutely incredible.
Story's incredible.
Dialogue, incredible.
Voice
acting, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The visuals.
Every single character is voice acted. Every single one.
Yeah, even little kids, just, like everything.
Even little kids.
Squirrels.
Everything. Dogs, cats, squirrels.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
The visuals are incredible. I played on a 4080 PC, and it was just incredible, absolutely incredible. But it ran really well on mid to low PCs as well, so that's good.
Yeah,
it ran very well on my Asus ROG Ally. Runs well on Steam Deck, so that's good too.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep, and it's one of those experiences you get into the world. You just sit down, you like Dory did, just let it consume you for like 2 to 4 weeks
This was my life for like 2.5 weeks. This was my fucking life.
I
loved every second of it.
Yeah,
I do. right back here. That explains my terrible vision. No, I mean, no joke. I mean, like I told Kim this. I think this has been one of the best summers of my life because I, as a teacher, I have the summer off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not only that, I mean, it's not just Baldur's Gate, but I mean, Baldur's Gate is a big part of it. I loved the heck out of this game, and I did not expect to. Seb was like, hey, I'm giving it a shot. I'm going to dive in. And I've seen all the reviews, and I love D&D 5e, and I love D&D in general. Wizards of the Coast with its own issues, but still, it's just such a fantastic game. One of the best games I've ever played, probably maybe in my top 10 of all time. I'm not sure. I don't really think that far ahead or that like high level most of the time, but absolutely goaty for me. It's going to take something truly special to beat this. I mean, I'm talking it's either Spider-Man 2 or it's nothing. For me in terms of goaty. And I don't even think Spider-Man 2 is beating it.
The fact that it beat Tears of the Kingdom for me is just mind-blowing because that game is also goaty, like incredible once-in-a-lifetime game. So we got two once-in-a-lifetime games for me in the same year.
This is the first Baldur's Gate in like, what, 16 to 20 years? Something fucking crazy like that?
2001 or something, I think.
Yeah, it's been like 20-ish years. And it's just... Those games in their time were also once in a lifetime, and somehow Larian has lived up to that. And don't give me all that bullshit about, oh no, what about all the pressure on AAA studios? Like, they should be making these kind of games. These are the games that we should be getting. Like, it doesn't have to be as expansive, obviously. But, like, these are the games we should be getting. No microtransactions, very focused on the player, very consumer friendly, like making sure you get your... I would have paid, if I had known the experience I would have gotten, I would have paid double what I've gotten. I literally would have paid $120 for this. Like, this is such a monumental achievement in RPGs. Like, this is I'm glad I only paid $60, by the way. But if you told me this game was like $70, like, I wouldn't flinch. Like, this is a terrific game for your any price, and obviously because it's an RPG. Infinite replayability, different characters, different class, different race, you can play this game for different choices.
2,000 hours.
You can play this game forever.
Yeah.
Fucking ever. It's incredible. So, yeah, I know we've already probably gone 2 hours or something like that, but this game, if you haven't gotten the point already, is just incredible and worth playing.
I totally agree. My only thing is if you have to know what you get into, this is not for everybody. It is a CRPG. A lot of role-playing, dialogue, story. No, if you don't like those kind of games, you're not gonna like this game, but if you're somebody that loves RPGs and loves narrative, this is the game to play. This is the pinnacle of that genre. I think you very few times in your lifetime you're gonna get a game on this level in that genre. Like, this is like one of those once in a generation. This is like on Half-Life 2 level of classic. I know people get a little mad about that because like it's a newer game. People always want to think like old games are better or whatever. This game was on the level of every classic you can think of, so it's that good. All right, so that is our spoiler cast of Baldur's Gate 3. So as I said, we're once again optional dialogue. So we're back to our old podcast, and then next week, and it's correct this time. It's actually correct this time. Next week, we're gonna talk about a bunch of shows and movies and stuff, and a couple of new games. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me, Dory. You have a good night.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend. That was a really fun topic. We actually went way longer than expected. I may have expected it because this game is so amazing. But But not every mini episode we do in the future is going to be this long. But this game deserved this much. Okay? And we didn't even talk about everything. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so much more that we left out. So go check out this game for yourself, Baldur's Gate 3.
Absolutely. Have a good night, Dory. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.